the most influential person in your life and why?
Well, I would say my father was, for both of us, because he didn't live up here and never did live up here. He just come up here once in a while, and we were able to learn pretty quick. It didn't take too long to learn how to do it. But we learned quickly that the cows would get out and get on 54, and then we'd have to go, if it were at night, we'd have to go at night and saddle our horses up and get on 54 and get them back inside of the fence.
Can you describe what US 19 used to be and used for what it was like?
Now, this is one of my pet. I like to be asked this question because we had a lot of fun doing it. My brother and I and our foreman found out that a family in Hudson, you all know where Hudson is, had 49 head of cattle and they wanted to go out of the cattle business. So we got in touch with them and told them that we would be interested in trying to deal with them on the 49 head. Now, I was 19 at that time. Coming up from St. Pete was being built, and that was lime rock base. There was no pavement built at that time. So we made an appointment with the people up there in Hudson. And they said, well, we will drive the cattle down 19. And as I say, it was just lime rock and no pavement. And my brother and I got on each side in the back, and the foreman stayed in front. And they would follow the foreman, and we'd stay in back and keep them from getting scattered. Well, we came all the way from Hudson down to 54. And 54 was paved then, and it was about 9 feet wide. And when we got down to where 54 hit the lime rock 19, then we turned east rather, and came on out, drove them out the 8-foot road, and it was pretty easy then because it wasn't any wider than that. And we got out to where, did any of you remember the orange packing house? Well, anyway, there was a packing house right where
Grand Boulevard.
Yeah, they called it Grand Boulevard then. And we came on down to there, and it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too hard to drive them. But we got there to that packing house, we crossed this Grand Boulevard and kept coming on out here. Well, people behind us couldn't pass us. And we heard some foul language behind us several times, and my brother got hot at some of the language they were using back there, and he got off his horse, rode him over there to me, and he said, hold my horse and I'll take care of this. And this one guy that was, he was really using some foul language, and he started over there to him and he invited him to get out of his car. And he says, I got something I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to make you forget that foul language. Well, that guy backed his car up real fast and turned around and went back to 19. And the rest of the people, when they got up here to the packing house, the road went to Newport Richie then, you know. And that was really 19 at that time, because that was the road, the 19, and of course he went into Newport Richey and followed the east side of the river on up to Hudson. But in our cattle drive down here, that's what we did. We drove the cows out here and put them with our cows, and increased our herd by 49 head.
When did you first realize you wanted to become a rancher?
Well, I would say that was when we were really, well, maybe about your age. When we went to our grandparents' home in South Carolina, we were able to fool with cows, and it was kind of tough at times, and yet we liked it real well and real quick. And we'd have to teach them to obey us with our cow whips when they're over there. If they try to run and get away from us, but we'd use the cow whips and teach them we were the bosses.
Can you describe an average day while you were growing up on the ranch?
Well, we would get up about 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and we'd, of course, have a breakfast, and then we'd feed our horses and saddle them, and we'd go out. During that first part of our life on the ranch was really tough at times, because we had what was called a screwworm. And that was a worm that came from South America. And nearly every calf that was born would get screwworms in its navel or any part of its body that had blood. You know, whether it got it in the navel or not. And we roped. We had a lot of practice with roping calves, because of having to catch them with a rope. And some of these ropes back here were the ones some of the ones that we used. And we got to be pretty good rancher ropers because of the practice we had roping the calves.